Hi, hello, welcome. And this is the part 5 of the streaming for adding types to enquirer. And what have we done so far? We have converted the prompts, the basic enquirer class. We haven't really completed that the detail of it, but we converted the base types, the base prompts, boolean, number, string, and then here array, and that's where we stopped in the last video. And then off camera, I finished the remaining of it, just a few more functions and properties, so not much need to be said about that. And then so now we are going to continue to work on the toggle, and then hopefully we can finish the remaining. The remaining shouldn't be too bad, I hope. And then that's when we can get into the options and try to get the union type and all that thing, all that fun stuff begin. So without further ado, let's get started. So here's where we are. As you can see, I add a few more things to the array prompt. So now that's completed. So now let's work on the next one. So the remaining, these are all the prompts, the specific prompts, and then there's some util actions. This probably I will leave it at the end. So let's work on the prompts. Let's pick probably a base one to begin with. So with a input or a list, let's do the input first. Right, so we will do the same thing. So converting this is the same. And then we get the support. We don't really use the color over here. And then so this we get the input prompts, which is the actually the input. Let's take a look. Input prompt, yes. So that's actually the input. Rename that, and then select this over here. That get the key pass, and actually it seems like we are not using it, but we will see. Double check. Yeah, we are not really using it. It's just over here we can tell. Yeah, it's not using. So meaning we don't need any of that unless there's a has, right? Dot has. Nope, we are not using it. We are not overloading the assert and using that has function either. So we don't actually need any of those. So now let's get in. So the input has these two uppercase. This extend prompts. And as we did last time, we have these functions. I'm going to add them over here. Okay. So by the way, you might wonder in the last one and also this one, I when I copy the types from the generated one, I do not copy the static methods, right? Because the reason is, well, I don't see it's being used in the test yet, and so I'm not going to add them. And then also in the if I'm going to add them, I will need to think about whether put them as a static method or as a functions exposed through the namespace. So until I see the usage, I will skip them for now. And maybe at the end, we will go through the README and see if that is being used or it is just supposed to be internal, as actually some of these functions are. But because you can see that this is all the same, because it's very likely this comes from the base class. So anyway, that's that. Now let's take a look at the input and finish it. So this take an action. And what is this action? And this returns void. Do this, it get this completer. Oh, completer action, completer. This seems like a string. So let's just take a look. Switch. Yes, it is a string. And we can actually do something a little bit better. So since you can see that this is invalid action at the end, so meaning this is really restricted list of values. So it's a enum or some sort. And instead of doing enum, which I typically don't do, I would just say it is a action. Type actions equals to previous undo next redo save save remove, and that's it. All right, so this is what a action type is. We're not looking at this one, we're looking at the input. And that. So alt up, alt down, return the completion. Void. And pwith is called the pwith. This is return void. The promise or not is a bit confusing. Some of them return the promise, some of them does not. And this is actually the same for the render and all other functions. So we will probably need to deal with it later. This is all empty. And then all of this, you can see here, this one is definitely a void. And I don't want to really make it asynchronous when it is not necessary. This one is promise. And this completion, the base is a promise. Well, this base, no, this is prompt. Prompt is type of string prompt. Oh, okay, it is a string prompt. So, well, I just gonna follow what it has, what it currently has, right? Because this is definitely asynchronous. By the way, does it have alert? No, this doesn't. Okay, so just gonna follow that. This completion. So odd up, odd down is also promised, which is fine. Periods is alert. Alert is the base is a void, supposedly. So I think we are good. Okay, so now we have this problem. This we haven't differentiate what type it is. The input prompt. So the input prompt here, the value can still be anything. It doesn't know, and it doesn't induce it from this initial value. So although since like we are doing the it's a terminal prompt, I feel like I can just default it to string. So all of this would be fine, and the others should probably still be fine. Test prompt question, that is a problem over there. So all this doesn't have problem. As you define this, the reason this one has problem is the question itself is the same. This is, if I convert it to string, have a default as string, and then that would be fine. However, this is not. Right, so that's when we really need to look at the union type and the inference thing. Okay, let's think it might be a good time to look at that. So let's reset this to back to prompt value. So we are back to here. So these are still fine. So now the question is this option, right? Or this question, as we name it. Can we infer the type of value from this function? Well, from the type of initial in this case. So let's take a look at that. All right, let's induce the that's from the for the question, and then it goes in here. Right. We have this t, and then the run which format, which function is giving me the problem, the result. Do it over here. Result. So this is this t. Now I know what needs to be done, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet, because there is a simpler thing that I can do first, which is separate the types based on this type property. Or does it? Hold on a second. This, no, actually, yeah, actually, no. This type describe the type of the prompts. It can be input, can be text, it can be other things, but that doesn't change the type of the value. So meaning they are separate. So that means I can describe it now. The issue is, again, I need to use my library. But before I go there, let me show you what I mean. So this is a library that I wrote, the CLI builder, and it's doing some pretty crazy fancy typing stuff. And let me share with you what do I mean by that. So you can see here, this, you can think of it, this is just like the question in the enquirer. So this is an option object. And then over here I have arguments. Argument have this name object, and I'm able to get the type, get this, and then you can see that when it's argument 1, it's string or undefined. And then if it is an option, this is even more fancy, is this option. When I get into this, you can see that this option 1 is a boolean, and I get that it's a boolean, and this one is a string, and this one is a number. That's because I'm basing on here. So I'm able to extract the type based on the where it is defined and all that. So I can do something similar over here. So now, let's do that. Let's do that. But actually, before that, let me clean up the other errors, so that we have a clean slate to work with. So this is a string. This position pushing the cursor is a number array. This input is get the string. And then I have this shift. This is the key. Boolean. Since the library use semicolon, let me keep adding the semicolon. What's the short? Never remember. Added. What's the? and that doesn't, that's okay. Let's get back to here. We add the shift, okay, and then we get this input, if equal input explicitly have np. It is a string array. This key have a function. It's a function key, okay. So this position is a cursor, is a number. Exactly the same. And then this allow you to take multi-line. Let's take a look at that, of both of them. X is here. So the input prompts allowed multi-line. That's definitely not everyone. And my guess is, since we recall we were looking at choice, did we? No, we did not. This is prompt, multi-line. Hello. Why is that? It's a string. It's a string. Yes, the string support a multi-line. So the input prompts, this is actually extend from string prompts. Actually extend from. Extend from string prompts. I see. String prompt. Back then we did not notice it takes multiple. There's a choice or things like that in there. Nope. But accept this multi-line as part of the option. And like the base prompt. So I'm going to add that in there. Because I can create a different type, but it's okay. And then also I don't want to just use the array question, because the array question can have other things that's not needed. So I want to minimize that. So now all these are good. Where's the error there? To uppercase. Oh, this forces it to a string. Oh, okay. So for now, we are good. Would that be a problem? Can input prompt text other types? I think it can. This would be an issue. But in the test, all of these are string. You can see that all of these are string. All of these are getting string. So all of these are expecting string. It really depends on the usage. I don't know what this input prompt, how this is being used or whatnot. But if the test is not complaining, I won't worry about it too much at the moment. So let's defer what I was planning to do. Add input types. So we're done with that one. Let's do list. So remove this and that, and then this list prompts. This get a list. This is a list prompt. How is it being exposed as list? So I supposingly should receive it here, but I do not. I was currently receiving it here. Because I haven't do the alias like this for the prompts yet. So I'm going to do it now. Of course, this will kind of just work, but I don't want to repeat the same thing. Repeat the same definition twice. So that typically identify. Oh yeah, of course. Well, for the input. Hold on a second. About that I need to take a look at it. This one is fine. And so for this one, I have the input prompts, and then I was adding that input because I was looking at the actual shape. So that's actually belongs over here, and this extends string prompt. So then this will expose outside like this, and then I need to do the same thing for the types. Types equals to that. Okay, so I'm done with this one, this part, but need to do one more thing. But in this case, because these types actually also expose as their lowercase variant as an alias, as described over here. It was doing this and this to lowercase. So So I can just expose the value and convert them to lowercase. But not going to do the same for the types. Yeah, people is not going to use these types that much, and it's better to keep it in one place. And doing this because when you use the type, use the class itself, it's easy to tuck the type in together, right? So in this case, it equals to this work. This would not work. So this, I have to do the same thing as I can do this. This is what I'm going to do. Let's keep them separated. I record that is a way to all right. So now I get this list, and also going to rename as list prompts so that it is easier to handle like this. So okay, so now let's take a look at this list. It is a string prompt. I can do something fancy over here. But should I? What happened is, if you just recall, this string prompt, I'm doing a type like this, and instead of defining an extra type, of course, I just copy this over here. But then I have this data structure in two different locations, meaning if things need to change, changing one, you might forget to change the other one. So what I'm going to do is this list and with this work. Yep, will work. And the thing is, I need to make sure this extend from string prompt. There you go. So this guy is a list, and the separator makes sense to be only exist on list and not on other things. Right, so I'm going to continue the same way for now. Question, and well, instead of just reusing that, in this case, I would say just say multi-line. Although I'm tempted to do the same thing over here like this, but it will get pretty complicated pretty soon. But if you look at this, this is not too bad. This is not too bad. Let's do it for now, and then we can clean it up later on. Separate regular expression. Can only be regular expression. I don't believe that is the case. Let's take a look at README. I forgot. Current support is separator, and it does not mention. This is separator, current row is separator, blah blah blah. Well, to answer this question, need to look at the code. Need to look at the actual code. Separator, this always default to that. And then this doing a split. It's a string split. This looks a little bit weird. What? Splitter? What is this? Hey? What is this? Hold on a second. Oh. Really, there's a splitter. Interesting. Never know this exists. Yeah, some more newer complicated thing. So for now, why this is two different overloads, by the way. It's a separated string expression. This is a optional limit number undefined, return a string array. This is also a same, remain the same, and it's just the first one is different. So it doesn't really need to be an overload, right? It can be just a intersection type over here, is string or regular expression or this. Interesting that they wrote it in the overload format. So anyway, for normal string split, I would expect it to be either string or regular expression. It's a little bit limiting because as you can see, you can actually do fancy things like that. But I'll keep it simple for the time being. So for this key press, now, now this is saying this key presses actually can take an string. This is from the support. So this key press, this char, you oh, it's actually a string, not a string array. It's pressing each character. It's actually pressing each character. It's supposed to be a string. I see. So that's okay. So now this list. This is a list. And so the return is getting a list of email, which is correct. So the type is incorrect. The type should be a string array. So over here, this is extending from prompt. So we need to override this function, at least this result function. This result function, let's override it. Going all the way back to the base result. Right. So in that sense, it's really now hold on a second. This is type T. This is this T. Where else we are using this format? Do you have an example for format? No, in the test it does not. Let's go back to list, this format, this join. The format in this case is not taking any value, unlike the base format. Oh no. So over here, the format, this didn't describe it. This still taking the value as optional. So this is okay, but not for the list. So we'll probably have to override it, that's for sure. The question is, how are we going to override? All right, just format, not returning anything, and this return is string. Right, and then also the base is the T is a string array, right? The type that we're dealing with is really a string array. But I would say for now, let's keep it just as is, and just overriding the corresponding value, corresponding methods. Is it void? Yeah. So this is not assignable. And this violates the list scope substitution, because although in the code, in the JavaScript, we extend it from string prompts, it is really just a separate. We just use the classic, well, the inheritance to do to perform some kind of a mix in for us. It's not really straightly, you know, inheritance, because as you can see, it doesn't conform with list of substitution, and thus we saw the problem here. So that's really start getting some serious typing here we need to do. But before that, let's just finish the type first, add all the functions in, and then we will continue in the next one. So this the value. This value is supposed to be an array. Oh, this, if there is an input, it converted to string and then split it. So the input supposed to be a string or some other things that can convert to string over here, and then split, and then the result is since it's a string split, it expect to be a string array. For the other type, the curious thing is this, the value of this, because this is really array. How does it get this value and do this? That doesn't look good. This function doesn't look good, to be honest. Because this set it here. This doesn't look good. How is this being used? List, this dot split. This definitely not taking anything. If this, oh, hold on a second. If this is split without anything, it get the value. It get the value, and then it try to stringify it, and then split with the separator. Because stringify an array make it become a string representation of an array, and then you split it back up. Well, interesting implementation, but the remaining we'll see. And from here we can see that this is actually not expecting anything, and I'm seriously doubt that this should be used outside. This look more like a private method, right? Because where does the user get this input from? It's probably we always call it without any parameter, so that it get a value and then get this kind of string split and get it back. Although you can specify the, well, you specify the separator, we can that one we can take a look at it from the test. So and then there's this submit, and then the value is not really being used. So the submit, do we already have it? Need to keep going back and forth. Yeah, we already have it. Yeah, of course, here is calling super. So since this satisfies the thing, I'm not going to make it any change for now. Okay, so let's go back to here. Void is not assignable to promise unknown. The timer function. And defaulted to void. Void is not assignable to promise void. Yes. If I just set it to any, but I really can't. This has to be a promise, as you can see here. This has to be expecting a promise. I cannot just assign get a T as a return type, which means the submit really needs to be a promise, need to return a promise, not like this. And for list of substitution, it really should be like that. But that does not match with the actual code. So definitely there's some bug over there. Definitely there's some bug over there. But for now, let's take a look at string again. Over here, there's no submit function defined. So it's just in the list, have this submit, and then make sure that it is it return a promise. Right, like that. And since this is really is not being used, I would even just take this away. Just take it away. So now that error is gone. Okay. The remaining one is this this type, and then also this result. It does not conform to the scope substitution, and let's make it as any for now. Would that work? Yeah, because the base type was not. So what it means here is for the result, well, no, not here in the test. This is an array, and then filter filter boolean. What does that mean? If it's true, that's an interesting way to do it. And then this guy return a string array, supposedly, and then this input is string array. Right, that's what it should be. But I'm going to mark it like this for now, so that we can work on the more important issue, the string prompt, right? So we are approaching the end of the hour, and so that's I will stop this live stream here. And so from this live stream, you can see that well, it's the same thing over and over when you're not using TypeScript, just writing JavaScript. there is a lot of corner case that you haven't really considered, in my opinion, and you can see it over here. And but you know, JavaScript is a dynamic language, and when we are adding the types for it, we need to somehow make it flexible. That's why the TypeScript compiler is doing an amazing job in getting it to work. Right? It's not perfect, but it's amazing nonetheless. So anyway, so in the next stream, I will be working on this very problem and start separating the type and see how to make this work properly. All right, and hope you enjoyed this and hope you learned something. And so if you have any question, feel free to leave me a comment, and if you like it, subscribe and give it a like. All right, we will see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.